Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jared and here with TC Mono to bring you guys like a G6 versus Greasy Dothogs, and then after this match, it'll be Froyotech versus the Cell. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 17, Week 2B, and we got a lot of action here tonight versus, or with a lot of what people would consider some of the top teams in Invite right now, so definitely going to be jam-packed. Happy that you're here to witness it all, because of all the days that you would potentially miss a cast, it definitely wouldn't be this one. And this should be the debut, I think, of G6 when it comes to casting their matches. I think some people saw a little bit of a debut of them with their maybe their horse run tournament they did recently, where they were able to take that away, and people got to get a little bit of a sneak preview on what they're bringing to the table this time around. Dothogs, we've seen them a bit. We've already casted them just a tad, and they've been a little bit on the unluckier side, but they've definitely showed up to play. And given the other teams a run for their money in the playoff bubble area, but so far they haven't really done a whole lot in terms of collecting wins for themselves. So they're gonna have to put it all on the table tonight if they want to get an upset win and try to put themselves back in the game.
Yeah, an upset win here from the Greasy Dothogs would be really, really good because, like you said, they've been very close in all the games that they've played. They've actually got a pretty impressive round win percentage, considering they have lost 2 of the 3 games they've played. But, like you said, an upset win here over like a G6 would be very good in their kind of journey towards playoffs. They lost against Vassell. They lost against the Jiminy team, both teams that have the potential to maybe just take those final 2 slots in playoffs. So for the Greasy Dothogs, like a G6, definitely someone on their target board that would be under nice to get a win over. But I guess going on, we saw the Greasy Dothogs last night. It was very close towards Jiminy, but Jiminy just winning that one out. Like you said, like a G6, this is their debut, at least in terms of the actual invite season. But a very important thing, if you did see the Horse Run Monthly that happened maybe a weekend ago, this G6 roster is not gonna have Lol Guy on Medic. That's right, kind of the, he wasn't the original G6 Medic, but he kind of became the G6 Medic. He really helped elevate that team with how he likes to play, being super baity, but he's actually not going to be playing with them for this season. Instead, they are going to have Howard, someone they've played with before, not for a while, not since Lol Guy has been with the team, so it's going to be maybe a little bit different. You're not going to have Lol Guy there to just milk every single thing and be extremely baity, but they have someone in Howard who, they should have a lot of experience with, and it probably won't affect things too much.
Yep. Overall, going over the rosters for anyone that might not be too in the know about who's going to be playing who for the first match of the night. For the G6 roster, we have Caps and Bot Mode on Scout, Kobe and Soapy on Soldier, Logan on Demo, and Howard on Medic.
Yeah, and then on the other side of things, on the Greasy Dothogs, we are going to have Shamu and wait, did you run down the Greasy Dothogs or G6?
G6.
Okay, good. For some reason, I thought you said Loaf, and I was like, wait a second. No, it's going to be a Paul Dog and Loaf are going to be your 2 soldiers. Dank on Medic, Sin Karma on Demo, and then Pablo and Shamu as the scouts, which, I guess in terms, it's going to be on Gully Wash, one of the kind of classically very projectile favorite maps. Logan is gonna be a threat. He's a threat in literally every single match that he plays, regardless of who he's playing for and what class he's playing on. He's just one of those players that you always have to watch out for, but especially on Gully Wash, I can do a lot of damage early. So I think a lot of the success that the Greasy Dothogs had last night was kind of on Loaf, being able to get behind, really open things up for the rest of the team to get in, allow Shamu to have a little bit more space to kind of take those very off-timing or odd Ubers that he really loves to take and just be as aggressive as possible. So definitely kind of looking over at Loaf and maybe Pablo as well, if they're able to get behind and live, importantly, which is what they were kind of able to do against Vassell. Then I think that might be able to open things up for Shamu and maybe Paul Dog and the rest of a combo to maybe take some Ubers when G6 aren't necessarily expecting it, but it's going to be a difficult fight for them.
Yep. Overall, you can see the pick bans. You can see the G6 was the one who picked Gully Wash, and to start things off, they banned a lot of the maps that they would consider probably upset maps, as well as they've spoken before, at least Soapy has, definitely, about Metalworks not necessarily fitting their playstyle all the time, how it's a bit slower because of all the transitions and stuff like that. On the side of the Dothogs, got rid of Koth and then Process, so leaves a lot of the choky maps left, like Gullywash, Snakewater, and such. So that's where we find ourselves here tonight. Gullywash is interesting because it can be a little bit stalematy sometimes, depending, but it can also be extremely fast. Gullywash is a map in the pool where you can have rounds that last 50 seconds. The only other map that you can really do that extremely fast that you see often was maybe something like Granary. So there's potential for, if there's a big skill difference, you could see like super fast rounds, but also if things ever slow down, there's only so many chokes, you can use to like get behind and stuff on a map like Gullywash. So it makes it a bit difficult to snake your way through and around to find a way behind, even though it's possible, just relative to other maps, it's a little bit more difficult. And that prevention of chaos kind of keep things more structured, and it makes it easier for things to slow down in moments where minutes can be chewed off the clock at a time. So I'm kind of interested to see how it kind of shakes out, if we're going to see some dominance coming right off the bat from one of the mid fights rolling straight into last, or if this is also one of the mids where you could just sell it for the other team's medic if you are starting to lose. Probably the easiest one to do so. So you can easily like, oh, we're losing mids, okay, well, let's just not get rolled at last, let's make it some sort of stalemate, we'll 1 or 2, both teams lose their medic, etc. So you could see this map going in either direction, whether it could be like a super fast, like 11-minute match if there's a big skill disparity, or goes all the way to like 30 minutes and you're only at 2-1.
No, 100%. I'm sorry. I was so invested in looking at the player stack that they were doing in the pregame. I think they had almost everyone on it, and there was a moment where it was just Dank on the Pyro with the jetpack looking up at this insurmountable tower of players thinking, how am I supposed to get up there? But now they have disbanded and have started to just get that or that DM, warm up in the pregame. But no, 100% it can be definitely slow. I think in terms of prediction, probably going to be in the favor of G6. I'm thinking I think it could be slowed down, so we might not get to the full 5. I'm thinking maybe like a 4-1, 4-2 in the favor of like a G6.
I think the Dothogs should be able to show a lot of promise this game. I don't think they're necessarily bad at Gullywash or anything, but there's one thing at, finding some moments in a map, and another thing is converting around. Part of me kind of feels like that it might be difficult for them to actually score this game. Because we've seen in some of their other games, it's not like they're 100% clean when they have their like full ad last pushing moments. And the team's only getting harder. I mean, sure, it's a different map per se, so that plays into things. But I think it might be a 5-0 for G6, just a hard-fought one. But I guess it's not going to be too much longer until we actually see for ourselves, because we are going live with the first match of 2 tonight here on Gullywash, G6 versus the Greasy Dothogs.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see if maybe that is the case, the Greasy Dothogs not having success on their last pushes. But here on the very first mid, it's going to be Logan immediately kind of bombed by Loaf. And so Greasy Dothogs kind of taking the opposite side of the point. Both teams playing the enemy's position at the moment. No one getting caught out for it, though, at least in the meantime. This can be the bomb coming in from Kobe through the back lines. One's going to fall on the lower end. It's going to be Soapy Master and Botmo Kobe coming in through drop down, not having any success, doing a lot of damage. Caps finding one on the low ground. You've got Sin Karma going absolutely huge over in the big door, and that is going to be the mid one for the Greasy Dothogs. We were talking earlier, Jared, about how the only maybe way we see the Greasy Dothogs giving G6 trouble is if they have really good mids, and that is definitely a really good mid.
True, we talked about it before we went live. We said that that would buy a lot of time off the clock, even if they don't necessarily get around. It would keep them in this game. And so far, it seemed like the initiation from G6 on that mid didn't really lead to a whole lot. They got kind of caught down underneath where they couldn't really do much. And the distraction even that they provided for one of the scouts that ran forward immediately got shut down as well. So it seems like Dothogs came well prepared in terms of what they thought the A plan for G6 would be, and they kind of read them like a book and made sure they wouldn't be able to do too much. So they take this mid and they're getting ready to push last here. The Pyro's on the field, not really air blasting the Uber too much, but is going to be able to at least delay the gun a little bit. But the cap time reigns supreme. They killed Kobe and Soapy, so unable to really do too much to actually jump and block the cap. So the cap time just keeps going and going, and Dothogs get their first round leading 1-0.
Yeah, but Dothogs getting an early lead, and that's going to be really good for them, give them a little bit of confidence. But the thing is that like a G6 are going to have the opportunity to try and respond here, maybe figure out what went wrong on that mid and give one immediately back to the Greasy Dothogs. It's going to be Loaf and Pablo over on the right side from their perspective. Loaf going to jump away after his flank partner gets found out, and that's going to be the Greasy Dothogs leaving mid with just that one player deaf in there, actually gonna get shoved in big door.
Yep, able to kill Loaf inside the lobby area, so Cap's gonna run back to his team, but Kobe jumped through the choke, overall trade, so 3 members alive from the side of Dothogs, so we're still in 2 and Dank. He's trying to run to safety, but doesn't realize that Bombo's in the choke. Polyg will be a meat shield, but Sin Karma left alone is getting chased, will die to fall damage, and now it's 3 left alive. Pablo inside, actually going to the big door to be able to meet the rest of the team, and G6, they focus on capping, they let him snake through, maybe catching him out of main. They're slowing down, barely getting there in time, 97%, are able to get the Uber in time, but a lot of damage with Polydog, so he's gonna have to back up to the spawn. Not a whole lot of spam that's being able to be applied to these doors, but Loaf solo finding some players stacked on top of each other, able to deal enough damage for the cap time. Bomb mode, he's causing a distraction, brought 2 players over to the point, so no one's really holding the doors. Overall a trade, Dank at half HP, still holding on, has to reset, and red health players all around for the entire side of the red team. And G6, they've already given up 2 players in this pressure cook, might be a bit harder to continue. They're still showing face to make sure that they can maintain some territory, but at the end of the day, things will finally slow down just a tad.
Yeah, that was really aggressive from G6, and it was very nerve-wracking. If you were the Greasy Dothogs, it was not guaranteed that your medic gets out there, and if Dank dies super late, as he could have, that would have been the round in the favor of like a G6, almost certainly. But, like you said, things are going to slow down. Still a little bit of cap time on the point. If, this is one of the maps that you can just kind of cap under the other team's nose if you get someone in through water and just come up while no one's kind of looking at the point. But instead, they are going to have bot mode up on Sniper, who immediately gets taken down as soon as I say that. So he's just going to be sent right back to the respawn room. Like a G6 are going to reset. Shamu is in wood, unspotted, might go for the kill onto Caps, and he's going to sync up. Soapy Meister over in lower is going to get caught out as well. That's going to be 3 picks now for the Greasy Dothogs, and that should be a call for them to at least try to push out.
Yeah, they're poking around. Polydog is also hiding in big at the same time this is going on. But overall, it seems like with Shamu being dead, there's not really be a whole lot of room to move because Pablo stayed on engineer the whole time, so no scout available to take some sort of trade. They're trying to spam down the gun the best they can. Logan is actually getting tons and tons of room, and Pablo's having to eat arrows while sitting on top of the sentry to make sure he's able to stay alive to keep it up. And eventually has to go back to get metal. When he does that, Kobe, free spam, is just knocking it down one shot after another. Polydog going over to try to counter spam, maybe take some of the shot himself, but it's bait. Bot mode commits to the balcony, tries to get on a Polydog, but he's alive. He eats an arrow, jumps away, he's fine. So overall, the play does not work in G6's favor, but they're still poking around some. Soapy is in water right now. I don't think they know for sure. They certainly know now he's just on the point. Once again, a distraction. Bombs over, tries to go for a stack onto the medic. Dank half HP is fine though. Overall, giving up 2 on G6's side. The 2-man does not lead to too much here, but they're not actually leaving lobby. They're still kind of persisting a bit. One of the soldiers is inside main, which is not something you normally see. Eating some traps, dies the fall damage. Kobe's down as well, but bot mode still inside wood. Okay, is going to leave. So overall, they're being a bit risky there with their presence inside lobby, but overall, Dothogs, despite getting those kills, I mean, it's not quite enough. That one death from Kobe is enough time to let the other G6 members respawn. So their attempt to actually poke and pot out, maybe go for a counter sack of their own, is pretty much just run dry. So they have to reset, go back to square one. And with 1 minute left on the clock, if you're the red team, you might be thinking about just going ahead and resetting just for another mid-fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 50-50 shot at least now for the Greasy Dothogs, but the Uber comes in from like a G6, gonna be getting in no kills just quite yet. They do take down the sentry gun. Bot mode actually does find one, getting onto the Cap. Soapy Meister there is gonna fall. Actually, Caps does as well, so player advantage in the favor of the Greasy Dothogs. Bot mode coming in, doing a lot of damage. Sin Karma isn't gonna be able to get the kill, but Logan helps clean him up. It's only gonna be Howard and Logan to be the last G6 members alive, can be able to escape out onto second, are probably going to have to give up the point, but the question is actually, do the Greasy Dothogs push out? Survey says no.
Yeah, probably not. Honestly, that G6 Uber didn't look too bad at the beginning, even though those like forced Uber exchanges are normally look really abysmal. They got a kill in the middle of the Uber exchange, but I think the distraction of Soapy going on the point wasn't really utilized. So overall, he just basically traded his life as well. But here comes the dry, the Hail Mary. They immediately get Sin Karma, which is actually huge, and they set 2 people water, heavy on the point. Soldier battle underneath, and overall, yeah, once again, another situation where these forceful fights that G6 is forced to take you know, they're kind of hard to make look good. But even then, I mean, they're still managing to make it not that bad. Like, I think any other team or any other matchup, you'd be seeing like, oh, okay, they just kind of ran in white, but look how close they got. That's kind of scary if you're the Dothogs, because if they find themselves in more situations where that could happen, that could easily be okay, screw it, let's go, running out of time, and then G6 would be able to take a round there. But so far, Dothogs still holding on, and still holding on to their 1-0 lead as we go on to the third mid.
Third mid, who is going to get the better of the other? Actually going to be very kind of an early aggression from Dog. Just going to have to wait for an arrow. Kobe actually on the lower ground for right now is going to get cleaned up by Pablo, and here's going to be the bomb coming in from Dog onto the scouts. Does a little bit of damage, forces bot mode onto the low ground for the moment, and that's going to allow Pablo to clean him up, and it is going to still be a 3v3, a little bit better for like a G6 because one of the scouts is down, but Caps is going to be on to Dank. Not going to be able to kill just quite yet. Dank is just delaying his death by falling into lower, but yeah, Shamu with an amazing surf to just kind of two-shot Howard there is going to be the silver lining for the Greasy Dothogs.
Yeah, it seems like the previous mid, I think Dothogs just had a miscommunication on their timing because their flank was mismatched, but this time they were definitely, whatever their plan was, they definitely timed it at the right moment. They were able to get the early pick on one of the soldiers and make their initiation that much weaker for G6. But I think near the tail end of things, it got split up a bit, and it made it more difficult for them to fight as a team. So G6 just holding on by a thread and are able to take that mid away. However, they did sacrifice their own medic for that victory. So overall, it is going to be ultimately a stalemate unless Sin Karma dies here. It gets spammed a lot, but we're going into a pause here.
We are going into a pause, so it's going to be interesting to see what that, hopefully, you know, it's not a player disconnecting, and if it is, really hopefully it's not a medic, because I think we had that last night, which, or actually, no, 2 nights ago, which is never ideal, but at least for the meantime, basically, like you said, even Ubers, even players for the meantime, seems like kind of like the flank of, well, actually not the flank, but kind of the flank of G6 is over in this big door. You really only have Logan and Howard kind of defending choke, so maybe they're going to try and get Soapy behind, or maybe Caps can run behind, or one of the players over there, and just maybe be a little bit of a distraction to get some either future play. But yeah, like you said, it's been actually very, very close on the mids, kind of very back and forth. G6 just barely holding out onto that one, and if you are the Greasy Dothogs, that has to give you a little bit of confidence as we do go live here. Soapy Meister does get in behind, going to be over by the shutter, and that's just going to draw eyes as bot mode actually comes up on Sniper.
Yep, on Sniper, and we do have a soldier behind as well, so it makes it extra difficult for Dothogs to find a way to hold on to this, because you have to put enough pressure onto the Sniper, make sure you don't accidentally overload and just like Uber exchange into nothing in big door. But also have to keep in mind of the soldier. But
Loafing behind!
I didn't realize he gets 3? I guess no one watched the choke. They just counted the amount of players. Yeah, you see one soldier in behind and one in front. That's actually whoever spotted that play just landed it to Loaf on a silver platter, because that was absolutely huge. I mean, that's honestly one of the potential cardinal sins of Gully Wash, is leaving your choke unattended for that long. And if the players are able to count the amount of players, like, wait, there's like all 6 here, they're able to spot these like unopened doors or unclosed doors that are uncovered. They just work their way through, and Loaf pulling out huge for his team. However, despite that huge play, they still find themselves on last one way or another, but they are in an opportunity to try to push out with their ad. Be mindful though, we do have Sin Karma watching underneath. He deaths, but he only does a little bit of damage on the Soapy. He has to basically 1v2 people on last, and it seems like, you know, I'm not sure where they put Pablo, but they, I guess as a team, were confident that Sin Karma would be able to deal with it all by himself. But honestly, even if he killed Soapy with that, debt, there was a scout coming anyway. It would have been harder for Sin Karma to deal with. So overall, it's going to be a round in favor of G6. The pause was because of Greasy Dothogs. They didn't say in chat what it was per se, so it's probably a little bit of lag or whatever, but we are going on to the next mid.
Yeah, and Sophie very weak over, but that's just going to bait Loafin. That's going to be the first pick going in the favor of Leica G6, and everyone else on the Greasy Dothogs not being able to get in at all. They immediately back out through Big Door, and I don't think they're going to be able to hold on to second either. Shamu now running in through Wood. Sophie very deep over in River. Caps maybe just want to try to bust in through lower. It's going to be met with a lot of spam damage from Sin Karma, and that's going to stop the G6 aggression just a little, but I mean, you already got mid, you got second off of that. G6 in a very good position to start and try to do that pressure cooker.
Yeah, losing 2 soldiers there that fast is going to be, you know, one of the hardest things to deal with and on Gully Wash of all maps, where you pretty much have to just bail and leave. So they find themselves on last. Dothogs are putting some damage early on to Kobe, who is kind of peeking alone at the shutter, but will not die. So G6 will still have an opportunity to go for plan A here. Bot mode has found himself in water. Has been spotted, decides to go ahead and run out, so I didn't want to go ahead and commit for it. But the gun does get spammed down. Them having to look at bot mode a bit makes it a bit easier to get through. And Sophie bombing over to the point, maybe a distract for someone else to go ahead and spam. Cap is thinking about it. Logan was spamming from balcony, but doesn't really lead to a whole lot of damage onto Dank. So losing a soldier for the gun, overall dying. I mean, it's kind of hard and difficult to deal with. But Loaf going in, kills Logan. Loaf's on fire right now, but oh! Dank used the Uber but dropped the players. They wanted to go for an Uber exchange, I guess, or maybe save the player last second to make sure that they could get some sort of like even play out. But this is the better Uber from the side of the blue team. I mean, there's not much more that you can really do considering it's over at this point, but that was pretty huge from the side of G6 to just sink all the damage onto the soldier at the same time and make it really difficult for Dothogs to continue to hold this. They're kind of holding on by a thread. The gun's still up, so they're really probably thankful that they didn't have enough.
Bulldogs just in! On to Howard.
All these the soldiers from the side of the Dothogs.
Oh my god.
We're looking at all the spam and pressure that's happening from the side of G6, and that's where our eyes are, but in reality, they're leaving a door open to allow these Dothog soldiers to just get behind. I'm seeing the spam battle that's happening in Shutter. I'm about to mention the fact that Botmo just got into water, and meanwhile, it's the Dothog soldiers you really need to look at. They're pulling out all the stops this match.
They really are. One soldier who could pull out another is Soapy Meister in wood. No one has cleared him. They're taking their time and actually just gets met with the face of Sin Karma. They do trade, which does favor G6 a little bit, especially with Shamu going down. So it is going to be Uber at still for like a G6, but they're in the position, sorry for Greasy Dothogs, but they're not in a good position to really take it. They do get forced here, and I think that's just going to have to be used to delay long enough to get their respawners. Now it's going to be Uber at for like a G6. Caps probably going to die. Logan in very deep is going to be able to get out, and bot mode is up on Sniper, gets cleaned up as well, and Shamu just immediately running through wood to try and go for some type of flank play. Isn't going to be able to do enough for the moment, but he's still going to be in the backlines, being a thorn to his side. Loaf is in, and the Greasy Dothogs are just so aggressive, just wandering in, and I think maybe G6 aren't expecting them to just walk through these doorways without a care in the world.
They're matching their aggression, really. I mean, I think G6 is initiating first and trying to poke and prod all these doors, and Dothogs are just finding an open one because they're able to count where all these people are, but it is ad for the side of G6 running in. They are able to get the heavy. That's actually huge to make sure that he's unable to reset. Bot mode inside, so you're able to clean up one of the soldiers, and that might be all she wrote, depending. Loaf has to go huge here, gets the one kill on the bot mode, but does eventually trade his life. Shamu comes back after collecting packs and from being behind, but immediately gets taken down by the side of Logan, and with only 2 left alive, 3 left alive from the side of Dothog. This might be it for this round, as the entire team of G6 running forward, going over to this point, cleaning up 1, 2, now potentially 3, don't even need it. The cap is going to go in their favor, leading 2-1 for G6.
2-1, but not a super clean one. It's kind of like you said, it is going to be like a G6 in control, but it's going to be very hotly contested, and that's what we're seeing from the Greasy Dothogs. They're just trying to take every single opportunity possible, and they're doing well to get a lot of chaos, but unfortunately for them, like a G6, just a little bit too good at controlling that chaos. But Sin Karma gonna get bombed by both soldiers. Kobe following up on Soapy's damage, gonna get that kill, but Loaf doing the exact same onto Logan. Both demos in the respawn room, but it is gonna be a little bit of position ad for, or positional advantage for like a G6. Everyone on the Greasy Dothogs ended up on the low ground, so like a G6 win the mid, and they're already trying to push on the second.
Yep, trying to poke and prod here. Meanwhile, Pablo's just behind. Once again, you have everyone at the same door, so is Howard just going to get 2 shots? The 3rd time! G6 just stacked their entire team in 1 or 2 places and leave somewhere open for a team member on the side of Dothogs to get through. On Gully Wash of all maps, where there's not that many places where you can find a way to snake through, yet they are succeeding time and time again.
It's a just really great initiation from the Greasy Dothogs. Now they're going to try and push in onto the middle, doing a little bit. They want to try and clean up this Logan demo, who's very weak, and they are going to be able to. Nice bomb coming in from low bot mode, still on the point. Might be able to clean him up, but no, is not going to be able to get that kill. Only going to be 3 up for like a G6. Very late spawns. Kobe doing some great rockets, but not enough to get the kill. That's going to be another late death. It's only going to be Soapy and Howard, the last ones left alive, and they're going to have to back up all the way on to last. And there's already a player from the Greasy Dothogs in water. Might get some early cap time onto the point. Loaf standing on it. No one's there to really block him. He surfs up, gets a nice rocket out. The rest of the Greasy Dothogs taking their time to get in though, and they lose 3.
The mode pyro.
Oh my god.
Burns down Pablo. It was a good distraction from the side of Loaf there, but it seems like the rest of the Dothogs weren't exactly the most ready, so overall their attempt to try to get through here is going to be all for naught. They do have an ad. They could have tried to use that as their way and their ticket to go ahead and push into last, but I think being a bit extra greedy there is going to kind of seal that ticket. Now they might have to actually use it to retake 2, as the Pyro is out on the field on second, which might give you some... Oh, Call Dog? Did he just get stuck in the ceiling? What was that fight that was between the soldiers? But the Pyro does get taken down. It is an even Uber exchange. Flashes all around, so it should end at relatively the same time. Howard wants to get the cap. Is going to unflash just a tad and make the Uber a bit shorter, and Howard will eventually not die. Shamu changes targets. Just as the soldier's still on the field, trying to find with the way on the Dank, who also changes targets and just leaves. There's so much chaos happening. I think they're extra afraid about all the people that are at last, but Pablo will eventually die all the way at blue team's last. So blue team, G6, really chaotic, are eventually able to make sure that second is reclaimed for their own, as only got 1 player advantage to work with. It is a scout, but it is thin margins that they will indeed try to work with a soldier and scout on the side of G6. Have already worked their way through. Kobe inside the connector area and is going to help make sure that Pauldog dies, but Logan dies as well, so losing it down, man, not that great to be able to work with. He is still inside this connector trying to fight Pablo. Is a bit of a distraction, is going to be able to get the kill, and that's actually huge considering that it's going to be much more difficult for G6 to get through here with no demo. Soapy might be his turn now. Through drop down, might go ahead and commit. No one spotted it. Bomb in. 1 missed rocket into the air. Another missed rocket. 1 more. Missed
Dank
rocket.
holds.
1 more.
Oh
Air
my
shot
god.
from below. Dank lives to fight another day.
That is just insane milking from Dank, because at first rocket up, I think just a wall shot would have done it, but here comes in Loaf trying to do another air shot onto Logan, not going to be able to get that one, but still did really good to defend their medic there. But bot mode is in through drop down. Logan dying over by the choke. They're going to be able to clean that one up. Kobe looking over towards Big Door to maybe see if he could go in, but I don't think he's going to, as everyone else on the Greasy Dothogs make their way in through choke, just trying to get some space here. Pauldog over on the high ground, doing some good damage on the Soapy as Kobe bombs him. I think he has a shotgun out. You don't see that too many times in 2025. Gonna be able to get the kill on the Pauldog. The Uber exchange does happen. Looking like it might favor the Greasy Dothogs just a little bit. A lot of weak players on like a G6. Loaf over in the big door. Here comes a bomb from Soapy. Not gonna do enough damage to get the kill. Shamu finds another onto Howard. They're all gonna try and sell out here for Dank or Sin Karma. They do find the demo. I don't think they're gonna be able to find the medic, but bot mode cleaning up 2 there is gonna make the Greasy Dothogs think twice about getting onto second right now. But Loaf, he's already there. It's only really Logan trying to contest, maybe with a sticky trap somewhere, as Soapy Meister rolls out. Might die, and those gonna be able to stay alive. So the Greasy Dothogs, very chaotically, but successfully managing to push out onto second.
Yeah, big miscommunication there from the side of G6 on where they're going to end their post here. I think Howard was like 50 or less HP and wanted to go ahead and back up into the shutter to try to go for the pack. Caps wanted to take the high ground and like fight over the high ground immediately for the post, and that separated and made their post fight like not that great. So they find themselves losing that fight back to last, and are getting the gun set up for just that situation, because Howard did indeed die near the tail end of things. So this is an ad for the red team to work with. Getting ready in river, it is spotted, so it is going to be known where they're coming from, but the gun should immediately die, and they're immediately sticking to spawns on the right side, taking positioning, brought Kobe over, gets the shotgun kill into Pablo. The Pyro's out in the field. Botmo burning down a scout once again, but there's so much cap time, and it's not quite enough maneuverability for the blue team to get there for the second block. So overall, a 2-2 game, tied up, and we're going on to our 6th mid.
We are indeed. It is so exciting. It is so close between these two. And say what you will about the Greasy Dothogs. This has actually been the case in the last season that they played as well. They had so many games where they lost by just 1 round. And hopefully that's not the same thing for them this season. But it's shaping up like it could be here. Pauldog taken down very early. Takes a lot of damage early in that fight. Kobe over in drop down. Gonna try and go get some damage on all the Bravo members. Just absolutely nuking them. It's only gonna be Pablo, the last one left alive, but he's spotted, going to be taken down. Howard actually on a 2K from that mid. The medic fragging out, but that's going to be a very good mid win from like a G6. You see Logan immediately spawn camping, but he's probably going to get pushed out of last by the threat of the sniper.
Yep. Classic drop down play, but it was extra huge, because not only it wasn't spotted, but it facilitated the death of 3 different players. Usually, if you're able to kind of tie someone up there, you know, you can make it just maybe one death at worst. But I assume maybe Dothogs thought it was going to be a fake. But either way, this Uber definitely is a fake. Going in, Shamu's definitely dead, scattered down. There is no gun or any other off-class really, so they can just chase down players, and now Loaf has to go ahead and reset. Same with Paul Dog, so no one's really able to actually block the point in time. They're kind of doing it now. They brought over Sin Karma. Sin Karma is indeed dead, so definitely no stickies, but G6 aren't really playing that heavily on the point. Now it's Dank's turn on Pyro, switching off of Medic to realize that extra firepower is needed, get some extra damage on the bot mode, and now the Medic v Medic action, except one of them is off-classing Dank. Gets 2 kills, 1 assist there with a big brain play to realize that heals weren't going to be the thing that actually wins that hold, but it is going to be the flames. But Soapy, oh, Sin Karma, his third eye is open, but Soapy is going to be gone. So Sin Karma isn't going to be able to trap him up and lets him get away. But at the end of the day, they've successfully held last. They found themselves on 2, and even though this ad is basically non-existent because Dank swapped off onto Pyro, it's still honestly probably worth it. So at the end of the day, pretty good job from them, and we'll see where things go from here.
Yeah, really great stuff from Dank as bot mode and Logan over in Big Door. Maybe one of them can try and get behind. Probably bot mode. He's taking a lot of damage. Is going to fall as one of his soldiers on the Greasy Dothogs tried to initiate by doing the little blaze bomb through there, but unfortunately for them, not going to be able to hit it. So like G6, only going to lose one, going to rotate back over on to mid. As Loaf tried to pressure choke a little bit, getting some good damage onto Soapy, but this time it's going to be the Greasy Dothogs that just insta-use through Big Door. Everyone on G6 may be in a good position because they're able to get out without having to use. So that's going to be the very slim Uber ad. And yeah, here they come right back in.
Yeah, they might be able to catch Pablo. Yeah, he's realized he's dead. He's just trying to be a distraction so no one else dies. So he will succeed in doing that. But Paul Dog, he was hiding. He was I think he was up in the sky or on
he
the
was
lamp
on the
probably.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I mean, sure, you got the 1 kill, but you lost your medic for it. So they're able to get Paul Dog. Soapy, got to give up his life. The rest of them are streaming through Big Door as the rest of the team is kind of huddled over to the choke area. But Kobe, the one person near choke, it's the surf. Dank running towards the shutter. Logan tries to surf in. Kobe another jump onto him. 1 rocket popping into the air. The melee, but Dank dies to fall damage. Overall, G6 will eventually salvage that situation as much as they could, and Dank will die, but Dothogs are trying to have some sort of presence on mid here, but the fact they don't have any heals means that G6 definitely want to fight this and use their buffs to their advantage. They have to be careful here for Dothogs. Pablo, very confident, doesn't quite get the damage off onto Soapy, but Pablo doesn't quite get the damage off onto him, so there'll be no deaths in that little poke and prod session there as G6 they want to have a turn now. They want to go ahead and get here before the choke is actually stuffed up and maybe find a way to take high ground away from the opposing team. Shamu tries to get aggressive, same with Paul Dog, but they're immediately cleaned up by bot mode. He will eventually die, but Sin Karma dying means that they are pretty much toast here for the side of Dothogs. Only 1 death in Logan, living on 4 more HP than he needs, will lead to a double stack here and a spawn camp, and probably around unless the Dothogs pull up a miraculous bust out of their own shutters here.
Yeah, that would be pretty miraculous considering Shamu just kind of insta-died. Dank is back up on the Pyro for what it's worth, but not going to have nearly the same success that he did previously. So it is going to be 3-2 in the favor of Leica G6. 6 minutes left on the match timer before we head into continuous overtime. So could still be a 5-something game, but it's been kind of pretty slow, all things considered. So we probably will hit it before the game is over, as it seems like everyone on Leica G6 just going to be playing the enemy team's side. Logan on his side, however, with the help of bot mode, is going to be able to stay alive, but 2 going down on Leica G6. Seems like they went for kind of a split mid. I don't know if that was the initial play or something happened, as now it's going to be Howard caught in here. Nice melee kill again from Paul Dog to get that medic death, and that's going to be a complete wipe. A really interesting mid from G6.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to use the distraction of the flank play to get the demo out of the equation, and even though they were going to lose 2 flank members probably, it's at least a distraction for someone else to eventually initiate once they actually climb up. But I think G6 got tied up themselves in some way, didn't quite see that prevented them from immediately going. So at the end of the day, the most you ever get is like a 2-to-1 trade, which isn't really that good. So the kind of snowballs from there is Dothogs are able to win that mid, they get the kill onto Howard, and they find themselves in wood. I think they saw some extra presence in upper and maybe want to try to abuse it. Mind the sniper here, the sniper is watching this, got the gun set up as well, so can't milk this too hard, and no one will eventually die to the sniper though. Sin Karma bombing in, trying to get some damage onto the gun, is eventually going to get it taken away as the engineer swaps off onto Heavy. So Pyro and Heavy on the field, Logan is inside water up, Paul Dog right behind him, actually going to climb onto it right now. buys some time, some tap time, brings the people over to the point, will eventually die, and Dothogs have lost a lot here. They lost one before the post-over even happened, and Dank, I don't think he's quite long for this world. Logan's on him off, getting the kill there, and pretty huge from the side of Dothogs. Pyro play, buying so much time, it's really great. Getting the one kill, I didn't quite see where it was. Definitely helped things a lot, and now they're even spawn camping. It is known, Logan was able to call it, and they have the sniper on the field, so they can't stay there forever, and Logan just barely escapes, but not quite, not enough. Calldog able to secure that kill, and overall though, even though they got that really nice kill, there's no heals available for the side of the Dothogs, so with superior buffs, G6 will just go ahead and dry straight into mid and get through. And actually, with Sin Karma showing himself in the floor, that means there's no traps, and Bigger they're just walking straight through. Wherever new traps appear, they see where they're coming from as he just sits inside the forward, and Second's for free as well. There's no setup, they're just getting in the lobby. They have to be careful that Second isn't blocked. There are the two flank members of the side of the Dothogs up in river near the pack that could commit if they want to, as well as Sin Karma still inside the forward, but Pablo is going to die. They go ahead and don't even use their Uber to just walk up the stairs and kill people that didn't overall commit. Loaf gets a consolation prize inside the lobby area to get on the Logan, but this Uber is finally going into lap, chasing down one of the soldiers, so it makes it even that much more difficult to actually block the point. And maybe getting it Shemu as well. Shotgun down, actually no, Caps is going to be able to secure the frag there as Dank once again. Chiral prowess not so superior this time as it's Sin Karma and Pablo versus the world, replaced by Pauldog now. Doesn't seem like there's too much left in the tank for the side of the red team as G6 will just go ahead and stand on the point, kill the rest of them, and collect another round, leading the game to 4-2 as we go towards match point.
4-2, so it is going to be a 5-something game. I stand corrected, but still, there is some hope for the Greasy Dothogs. Their mids have been pretty alright, everything considered. It's just kind of been getting to Like a G6's last that they kind of lose some steam along the way, but we'll have to see if maybe Like a G6 change up their mid once again. Loaf over on the low ground is going to be met by Kobe, just going to be trading damage. It looks like it's maybe going in the favor of Loaf, and he is going to get that first early kill. Bot mode on the low ground, going to help out his soldier partner, clean that one up, so it is going to be an even trade across the board as Bot mode actually coming up for the flank onto Dank, doing a lot of damage. It's going to get one onto Sin Karma, is going to be taken down by Shamu, but the bombs coming in from Like a G6, too good for every one of the Greasy Dothogs to handle. Here comes Soapy Meister bombing, and Shamu going to be able to clean that one up, but Dank is so low. Now we're close to Uber, is going to be able to get it, and Shamu not going to be able to trade out with bot mode. That's going to be Like a G6 winning another mid.
Yeah, they were stuck on the wrong side of the mid there, so couldn't just leave. But honestly, props to bot mode finding an opportunity to run in and get a lot of damage and to kill without even really getting shot at. Not only did he get that frag onto like one of the combo classes, like the medic, but continued to return back to his combo for a buff and help with another person that initiated. Only really got shot into the tail end of things, and they're thinking about going in early, potentially, or at least cutting off the soldier that was trying to leave River, but no, they see he's gone, so not going to bother with that. But they are going to go through Shutter. They're not going to milk it too far, but Logan is going to bomb in. The gun's in the cubby area, need to take it down, but Caps has his eye on one of the soldiers, will succeed in killing Pauldog, so one less soldier to be able to block the point if someone decides to go water, but no one's quite there. There is a heavy on the field for Pablo, but Shamu immediately gets 5 patch to Risa. It is going to overall be a trade, 3v3 scenario. Loaf down to 3 HP. Kobe trying to shotguns people down. Dank on Pyro once again. Kobe burning out, and it's a 1v2 in a weird scenario though. Pauldog respawning, gets the kill on the Howard. Logan dying as well. They were kind of caught in there, so I mean, Howard could have maybe left at the end of the day. You know, really thin margins that that victory was for the side of Dothogs, and Sophie hiding in a corner. Not really going to find anything. Didn't realize that Sin Karma was going to get that aggressive, so Botmo goes ahead and tries to run forward to see if he can get that kill, but they're drying out here, but there's still a lot of pressure from the side of G6, and Sin Karma is not in lobby. He gets killed here, and they just rush to the last. He is at 9 HP. They've busted through. Soapy's going. There's a cap. They're trying to time 6 it. Loaf on Lasso is able to clean him up. With the help of Sin Karma, overall, not really going to lead to too much here as the rest of the team just barrels through the choke. And overall, with 2 people dead, even though you don't have a demo man, this sniper has to go huge. Kind of stuck, will eventually die. Overall trading, though, they're trying to collapse onto the choke right now. Pablo getting a really aggressive rest team, respawning in turn, trying to meet with them. It could be bait. Shamu dies, Loaf's in, still getting a lot of damage, but they're not able to clean up any kills. G6 still lives throughout it all and has a small ad to use as we now go into infinite overtime. And this could be the thing they need to go ahead and push.
Oh, they're doubling back. They're doubling back.
They're back capping them. They might just go all the way. They need this Uber, though. They need to be able to buy time, but Dank, he's bleeding out. He's going to die to the ball. He gets shotgunned down or actually killed by the side of Atmo. That was almost an amazing play from the side of Dothogs. but it was cut short near the tail end of things as G6 salvaged up, recap mid, go to, and this is going to be a last hold for the side of the Dothogs. Might be a bit hard, but actually Paul Dog's waiting. Oh, he's waiting in fourth. He's going to block 2. I'm not watching last. I'm watching 2. That's what matters.
There are stickies there, so I assume bot mode. Actually, no, but stickies are dead. He comes out onto bot mode, doing a lot of damage. That is going to delay it just a little bit. Bot mode not healthy enough to fight it. Gets the pack over in lobby. Now comes back as everyone else on the Greasy Dothogs just getting wiped here. It's really just onto Paul. He's doing so much damage. He's delaying for as long as possible, but finally bot mode does come back to get the kill. That might buy enough time for the rest of the Greasy Dothogs. Dank back up on Pyro, trying to do everything, but it's not going to be enough, and that is going to be the game for like a G6, 5-2.
It took them a bit to get the ball rolling. It kind of looked like, you know, it was early season, like, oh, we haven't really played this that much with like all the holes in the map that Dothogs were able to kind of sneak their way through. But I think once the game started to continue to go on, G6 was warmed up mentally to the map, I think, and started to play, you know, how you kind of expect them to. But even in those moments, were they able to get those rounds and start to make it from an even game to a more one-sided game? Dothogs was still showing some promise. Even just there, like the small little plays were almost amazing with the mid-back cap and the second block. So they really had it in them, but I think even though my prediction is wrong, I think it comes down to what I said earlier, verbally at least, with the prediction, that you know, you can show a lot of promise, but it might not necessarily get you the rounds that you need per se. So you know, you can't be too mad at it. Rounds are really good against you know, teams that would be really hard to win against in the first place. You talked about how Dothogs, their win percentage was already really high at the beginning of the season, and getting 2 rounds versus a team that is, you know, grand finalist potential here, you know, you can't be too mad at it. It could be a whole lot in the long haul. So hats off to them, but definitely a big congratulations to the victors, G6, who ultimately take Gullywash 5-2.
Yeah, they do ultimately take it 5-2, and just one person to shout, well, not shout out, but just put a little of a spotlight on Kobe doing 374 DPM. Obviously, it's Gullywash. Very, very nice for soldiers in general, but still, that's a whole lot of damage to be doing for the entirety of the map. So definitely having a good game. On the other side of things, Loaf as well, doing a lot. I think was kind of one of those people able to just kind of get in behind and really just open things up. You know, him, Shamu, actually everyone on the Greasy Dothogs were those people that just kind of wander in through those doorways and find really great success with it. But yeah, like you said, getting those couple of rounds there is going to help them in the race for playoffs, as long as they can get upset wins over, or I guess not upset wins, but kind of revenge wins over teams like the Cell and Jiminy. Those maybe 2 rounds might be what gets them into playoffs. But that has been that match. Now we're going to be going on to Froyotech versus the Cell. And I don't know about you, Jared, but I am very excited to see this one.
Definitely. I think these teams could be really close. It's kind of, obviously, you know, you change your roster here and there in between seasons sometimes, and it is what it is, but it is going to be a bit of a rematch from the previous season, so definitely looking forward to that, to see how, after all the changes that you make, you know, the cores are still there, so you can kind of see where things line up and how playstyles change and things like that. So it's definitely going to be a fun one. I think Froyotech had a doubleheader tonight, and they played one of the move-up teams earlier on, so that way this one was delayed. I think this one was supposed to happen on Tuesday, and they moved it. I guess I'm assuming someone wasn't here, so we get to see this action after all, which is really nice. Although we got to fix the password real quick to be able to get in, so that's why you're not immediately seeing gameplay and stuff. But I think it should be fixed. We're trying it now, so fingers crossed. See if we can get in. I'm loading, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. So am I. So I think we should be able to get you.
This is live, question mark? This is live.
Yeah.
It's 4 minutes in. It's 1-0 in Froyotech's favor. Froyotech owns mid, and they're trying to break a stalemate. They are running Banny Sniper right now, and Hannah is ringing in place of Hubita. The rest of and Jay is the new Cell medic, because Hubert is not on the team anymore, I don't think, or something like that. I didn't actually ask. So different medics than you would expect to the prior week, for probably different reasons. But we're live. And
Yeah.
after all that little action that was just happening, I don't think it really amounted to anything. Still have the sniper on the field, 2 minutes left. Okay, sniper no longer on the field, but still 2 minutes left. And now the ball is in the Cell's court to go ahead and go for a counter sack.
Yeah, as they're trying to pressure over towards a choke. For the meantime, Banny being taken down, so that's going to be Froyotech's kind of sack potential nullified for the moment. Yeah, we didn't really talk too much about it, but yeah, this new Froyotech roster, basically the same as we kind of saw in the previous season, but Patty going to be here on the Pocket Scout and Banny swapping over on to, sorry, Banny on the Pocket Soldier, Banny swapping over on to Pocket Scout, and Bransley moving on to flank. So a little bit of a change around, but still basically kind of what we saw in the last season. And then the Cell, kind of an amalgamation of like the Chuds. You know, you have Raven and then the Soar and High Five and Dingo from the previous season. So kind of all melding together. And then Jay Hunpei on Medic, which is it's crazy that you have someone like Jay on Med, but you know he's going to be able to hit those juices. Now, he's got to hit him right now, not going to be able to. Patty going nuclear, getting 2, and still alive, doing so much damage. Finally going to be cleaned out with some nice fight by Greg. Oh my god, just the medics being taken down left and right. Explosiveness from all the soldiers in the server, but it is going to be the Cell getting the better of that one with player ad, and they are going to have a little bit of slight Uber ad because Jay did die first.
I'm not gonna lie, it's obvious the soldiers were going to die because they double sacked. I didn't quite see exactly how 2 extra players got dropped before Hannah dropped, because they have 4 players alive at that point, right? No clue how the other ones went. And then the drop seals deal for the final player to die. But with both medics respawning, Jay has respawned on crits. This is going to generate a pretty big ad. Branslam is on sniper though, defending second. So you have to see how that goes, because you know, not gonna really have invulnerability there. So if they peek from sewer, Branslam might be in the prime position to just go ahead and kind of nail them straight in the head. And we'll see if he hits the first shot, because it is going to be a surprise. I think he has shot already, and they've kind of seen it, so they really got to make sure this first charge sticky goes huge. Patty's trying to bomb and predict when the thing is going to come, but Laz is going to be able to predict correctly. And Dingo Sticky just dies mid-air because he is successfully taken out. The crit rockets are going through. Greg able to just barely live, but at the end of the day, Soar is going to buy a lot of space for his team. They're trying to run forward since there's only 3 players left alive for the side of Froyo. Hannah in a corner. Will and she die to the bomb from High Five, so overall, it is going to be a full wipe with Laz respawning, giving him his life in the very beginning to prevent that crits from happening. So really good job from the side of the Cell, especially Soar, that even though the crits really didn't go good at all, they're still able to use the chaos and confusion to gain ground and find a way to prevent Hannah's Uber from coming off and saving the day for Froyo's side.
Yeah, and now Froyotech going to be on their last once again at Disad. Still going to be the crits from the Cell, but at least now Froyotech know about it. So that element of surprise not going to be exactly there. Has the crits. It's going to be probably on Dingo to try and get these stickies as the crits is used. Looking, the first get Hannah. Oh my god, Laz goes in to try and nullify the crits. Does find one on the Raven. Dingo also going to go down as well, but the damage has been done. The Cell, however, are going to be losing a bit more than Froyo. Froyo not going to push out because they don't have a med. Actually, no, I say that. They swap off of NG. They might be pushing out here, at least maybe trying to make some space for Branslam to try and peek. He's over by the one door. No one on the Cell kind of peeking that sideline. Soar is a little bit, but I think Froyotech are just going to back up. They know the Cell still up on the crits. Jay hasn't died yet, and hopefully they're going to be able to stuff those doorways just a little bit better. Otherwise, they're going to be in for a repeat experience.
If anything, this might be worse now, because the gun should be able to get built up to a higher level, maybe? Actually, maybe not. It might just be a repeat at the end of the day. So we'll see where they crits from. The gun is spammed down first from 2. They're rotating over to the lobby side. They know they have a decent window to use here. Dingo will call for the crits. First sticky out does not quite hit the mark on Banny. A lot of damage on everyone all around with Raven and Thor going through. Hannah will indeed die, so no Uber available for the side of Froyotech. Is 3 left alive though. They have no invulnerability with this push, so they've pretty much wiped for the most part. Got a lot of damage onto various Froyotech members, but not quite enough to get more than just a handful of kills. Greg will be the last one here. Gets 1 rocket onto Abib and able to seal that kill and secure it away. But overall, the push was not successful as Froyotech leave and go to second to reclaim it for their own. They did get Hannah, which is something, which means they do have some heals here to begin to fight these people. And actually, it's a bit of a brawl here. Not necessarily telltale sign of who's going to necessarily win. Raven is going to get taken down. Bomb came from the last, trying to catch people out inside the sewer area, but high five gets killing a brand, so overall a trade. But Jay just walks into the shutter where the soldier was behind him, immediately dies. But Hannah dying as well from the bomb from high five. Once again, medic trades galore, it feels like. We've watched, what, 5 minutes of this match? And the medics are just dropping like flies.
They really are. I don't know if that's maybe, I mean, the medics being out of position or if the soldiers just being so dynamic and being very successful with their bombs. Either way, it is going to allow Vassell to hold on to second. Froyotech do... I have a very slight, but it's basically even for all things considered. Actually, no, it's gone back in the favor of the cell. So, Froyo just going to sit on their last for the meantime. They have Brand Slam up on Sniper over by 5 in lobby, just trying to see if he can maybe get a little cheeky shot onto some of the feet of the Cells players. No one peeking him at all. Dingo playing very far back, maybe anticipating Froyo to get a bit aggressive here, but now as they come closer to their own Uber at around 80%, they're feeling confident. Hannah actually only at 60, so this has kind of turned into bigger Uber ad than I think it initially was. I doubt the Cell known, especially with losing Greg and rollout, they're not going to do anything with it, even if they did know. So they're just going to be here on second, waiting until Greg respawns, and they can try and figure out how they want to sack in onto last.
Yep, that bought them a lot of time to be able to get their Uber, so good job. I think it's interesting that Banny is continuing to put his sentry on the left, and since that's kind of like, it's been spammed down a lot through rollout, so they just rotate Habib over there instead of holding like 3 or something. Just put a trap there, and that's what kills Greg. You know, he hadn't gotten 4 there before, but now he has, so. Doors held open. Soar is going to be on Sniper here. Only 2.5 minutes left, but that should be plenty of time to get a headshot or two. As we'll see how things begin to go. But it's not Soar that's going to get the headshot. Dingo will be the first to fall here as Moransheim has swapped on to Sniper himself. And Fanny wants to push out. He swapped up Engineer and beginning to poke and prod, considering no Demo Man is a pretty huge boon to work with if you are trying to push out of your last. So gotta be mindful of the Sniper. And as soon as I say it out, Soar hits the shot. Hannah's gone. Fanny's gone as well. Habib's getting 2 kills. That is something to work with, but Jay dead is going to be one of the things that it's going to be difficult for the red team to continue to work with here, as they're also weak from the fight. Like, sure, they have a player advantage, but this heavy on the field is going to be a lot of HP to chew through. Greg initiates, Mo down, other soldier comes in, a lot of damage on a Brand Slam at 28 HP, trying to dodge a stick. He's just barely surviving, but will be okay, as overall Froyotech are able to hold that off of their ability to prevent the hurt players from streamlining in, and they want to push out now before the rest of the red players go in. Raven and High Five still dead means a huge player advantage to work with, and I think the red team, the Cell, has realized that, yeah, you know, we're not going to fight this 4v6, that'd be kind of dumb. So back to mid they go. Things are looking like they're finally slowing down, and after a whole lot of back and forth in between last and 2, it will end with Froyotech reclaiming, going outside and taking 2 as their own, as this is probably going to lead to another stalemate given the Ubers.
Yeah, but based on what we've already seen, I'm sure that we've got 2 incoming medic devs, and not in the far future at all. But both of them are going to get on to 100%. Seems like High Five going to be jumping through. That's going to be just the Uber actually coming out from the Cell, bombing in. Dingo super duper deep. Maybe they didn't know and track it. They must have. They are going to lose 2. High Five and Dingo both going to be going down. That's going to open up mid for Froyotech to get through. That's going to be the bomb from Greg. Not going to find anyone. Should be able to escape. And without losing anyone else, they might be able to get some type of defenses on segment. With no demo, that's still going to be these chokes completely open for them.
And they're trying to fight this 64. They get the 1 kill on the labs, but on paper, this is an extremely hard fight. And despite what it says on paper, they do not give a care in the world. 64? Light work. Immediately kill 3 of them because Froyotech thought that it'd be so easy and they wouldn't be actually trying to hold it, I suppose. That they were mistimed a bit in their initiation. Weren't able to actually capitalize on the fact that they have more players because not all of them were ready. So the slip up in the assumption about the way that the Cell is going to play leads to almost a complete wipe. Nice shot from High Five. Final one on Habib maybe? No, but Dingo will be able to get that kill. And Greg buying some space for Patty to go. Oh, the J arrow on the Patty. Goodbye. So overall, great job from the side of the Cell there. And overall, full Uber ad for them, so they get an honest try to go ahead and push last. Habib is barely up, but they got to go ahead and cap things up, so we'll be able to at least put some sort of defense up. The gun's only level 1, can maybe get level 2 in time, considering they got to wait for High Five and Soar to go ahead and be here, but you know, we'll see if the Cell is able to convert around and tie things up, or Froyotech will once again have an iron hold on their last and begin to eventually push out a 2 after all said and done.
As now they are going to be coming in with the Uber. That's going to be Dingo kind of a little bit launched up by Mr. Good. Habib, nice kill onto Raven. So that's going to be the pocket scout down. No cap time whatsoever. And the player ad in the favor of Froyotech. Patty bombing in over by Rolla, doing a lot of damage, but Habib cleans up on it, getting to Soar and Jay Hunfei taken down. And now there is High Five maybe in position by one to try and go for a back cap. And he is going to go for it. He's going to draw a few players back. Both soldiers bombing him. He does trade out with Laz. But it's still going to go down there. So Froyotech pushing out on to second. It should be pretty clean from them. Raven is up on Sniper, going to be all the way back by his sewer. So if they just wander through this choke without spotting, they might be called out. But actually, no, they are going to go IT.
Yeah, Branson gets body shot, so they definitely know for sure where he is. He's backed up inside the shutter, kind of afraid of them potentially going through and immediately killing him, but they're kind of milking it. I think Banny has made enough space, and they're kind of afraid of the Uber, considering that IT Ubers are usually just like immediate. But Greg bombing in, dropping Hannah to 22 HP. Hannah can't really commit that far, but no one else is really ready to go ahead and run forward and try to get the force out. You know, Habib's was kind of near the choke, preventing them from really getting through. And I think Freud did a really good job of calling that, like, they know we're IT, and that's fine. They're going to be afraid because they think that we're going to immediately pop out, so let's just not. And that ballsy call does work out in their favor. Overall, there is a bit of a trade of players over on the side of things near the flank, but at the end of the day, it is, for other purposes, just a completely free second for the side of Froyotech, just walking straight in like they own the place. But their Uber ad has dwindled. I think they rightly know that they've gotten so many free points that it's not really ad anymore, but they can still at least find a way to go ahead and go for a sack. Det already onto Patty, still able to work his way through as they're inside the spawn area, so not really actually holding down any of the doors. Branson just above in heaven will probably get eventually cleaned up by the side of High Five. Nice shot on him and eats an arrow, so he's continuing to survive there. So overall, just a two-man, just abusing the space that was created, but doesn't really get too much there as Soar does have an opportunity to go behind, is behind, unseen, on Hannah, immediately forces. There's been too many medic deaths here to not be afraid, especially with the bomb income from Greg, so definitely want to go ahead and pop there to two players that are initiating in, even though your health is full. So they try to run in the lobby to get more than just Greg. Will not succeed. Soar is able to slip away. And at the end of the day, the Cell have found themselves in a position where they can go ahead and push out of last once Greg respawns. However, pushing out of last is always a very precarious scenario. Raven's already paranoid, checking for off classes, making sure there's not a spy or a sniper that could put a thwart into their plans. But they don't find anything, which is pretty typical considering Froyotech are an off-class light team. They don't do it that often, but the Uber is ready. They're inside lobby and about to rip it through lower.
And they rip it through, going to be bombing Dingo super deep. Habib over in sewer, just barely able to defend himself. Went down very low there, but no one dying except for Brainslam, who kind of fell earlier. So Vassell going to be able to get on to second. Froyotech, with all the time that Vassell took, now have their own Uber to immediately use right back in if they want to. Seems like the call is to be going through IT. There is someone spotting at source, so they should know over on the Cell. Going to back up. Ideally, no one gets caught here, and you do force it out. Froyotech doesn't use, but no one does get caught, so a little bit of a mixed of both worlds coming out here. But Froyo have the opportunity to just go in forward. Now on to last. They're going to be bombing Habib and super deep over on the left-hand side. Jay super close to Uber, doesn't have though. It is going to go down. Raven weak, going to rotate over towards the right side. So this is going to be heals advantage for Froyotech, as they're just going to be able to keep buffing up all these players, deal with all of the incoming Cell soldiers as they bomb in. High Five, Dingo both being taken down here. Greg weak over on the 5 side, and the Uber coming out for Froyo again, and that is going to be a 2-0.
Yeah, there was no defense really for the side of the red team. No heavy, no engineer, so at the end of the day, Jay is going to be the target. Maybe Dingo if he's available, but Jay just kind of caught in a corner, unable to just jump into heaven because he's too far to the left-hand side, so they just gun for him, immediately kill him, and they didn't even need to use the Uber near the tail end of things. They just used the heal advantage to slow win the last fight, so nice round from them. 2-0 into the next mid here. The first mid that we're going to get to see is a lot of damage on a Dingo rings out. He's going to need an arrow eventually, so the HP for the side of the red team isn't that great, but they're kind of controlling height until the double soldier bomb goes in. Patty able to take down Greg, will give his life for it. It is attractive for the rest of the team to get on top of the crates, and Dingo will eventually fall from combined damage from one of the scouts and Habib, but Manny giving him his life, so the high ground control is a little bit lost here. Patty has to jump, or Laz rather, has to jump away just a tad for the stickies from Habib. A bit too strong, so High Five will give him his life, and Brandsam actually continues to live despite going down to red HP, so with so few players left alive, with that one final killer, and a High Five is going to be enough to have the Cell go ahead and call it. and back up a Soar. Soar's on the move, wants to maybe block mid, but he's immediately spotted, doesn't go for it. Doesn't want to walk on a straight line even though the pack's there, so we'll settle for just go ahead and holding on to 2 for as long as possible, but Froyotech, they're already poking and prodding. We even have their whole team here. Banny's still just getting the team right now, and they still have a scout of Brand Slam overset near Al-Qaeda. Soldier bombing in, and Habib is over near the choke to kind of bait them to get forward and maybe find some room here, but Laz bombing in. Nice rocket onto Jay, pretty much unsurfable. It's a complete body shot there with the rocket to make the force come out. So now red team trying to find any other kill other than Laz, but will not concede, especially because Froyotech, if you got too close, they would just use the Uber right then. So nice arrow onto Greg to make sure he doesn't die as he approaches the choke, but they're unsuccessful in trying to predict when this Froyotech Uber would come out. So these soldiers are kind of mauling their HP down to shreds, as now Froyotech will finally go on the move here and go through Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, they are finally making their way in onto second, and now there's no soldiers to really at least initially bomb them. High five in upper IT could try and go for something, maybe a fall down onto Laz, who's a little bit weak in lower IT, but we do have a pause coming out here, so it is going to still be Froyotech in a very good position to try and take second. I think outside of High Five, there's not really anyone on the cell, and looks like they're going to try and go for something. They try and force the Uber. I don't think Froyotech are too worried about getting forced, at least right now, so should be a clean second take for Froyotech, and then Jay, already at 60%, might be able to get for last. It is definitely doable, depends on how long Froyotech take, but looking good for Froyotech to maybe snowball this into at least a sack attempt on the Jay.
Initially, I thought this was going to be just attack, but apparently it's a tech. Someone crashed. Which player was it, Dolphin? Brand Slam crash. Well, at least it's not one of the medics, you know. But 90 seconds in the future probably won't happen during a last push, but really in this situation, Greg's the only one that can go for a force if they want to even go for a force. High Five's kind of inside IT. He's kind of has to waddle out and then go for a jump, which he technically could do, but, you know, if he's spotted, it might be a bit hard ahead of time. He can't really get that high. So we'll see how things transpire from here. Greg jumping through is going to be the one to commit. Rides one of the scout's heads in a Goomba stomp, so he's unable to actually land where he wants to. Very unlucky, and great job from whichever scout that was to just go underneath the soldier while he's denying him. As they're running through now with their ad. It is about to be even, though. They've bought at least a little bit of time. Banny is going to die to some stickies, and this Uber doesn't need to come out. The blue team a bit too slow. Patty dying as well means they might get just run down inside lobby here. Not really watching the other doors means High Five can go ahead and bomb through. Trying to get some extra damage on one of the scouts. Will not do enough to get one of the kills, but definitely enough to thwart them completely out of 2 as the red team gets the Uber just in time to make sure they can go ahead and reclaim 2 for their own.
Yeah, really great stuff from them as immediately it's going to be Banny back up on Sniper over in Sewer. High Five through IT, just launching Laz up into the skybox. Patty going to be able to get that one, and here's a nuke from Laz over in Choke. Doesn't get any kills, but does do a lot of damage, forcing the cell back. They're also weak. Banny with a body shot onto Soar, and that is going to be 3 down for the cell. They're just going to have to give up second completely. Raven, Dingo, and Jay all the way back onto their last. Froyotech just going to be happy to reclaim that second point. It is basically going to be even Ubers. Dingo's still in lobby for some reason. It's going to get taken down with a nice direct from Patty, and that is going to make all these doorways a lot more open for them to just bust through.
High Five wants to exchange. They're down a demo man, and the other team has a sniper. So, yep, finds Hannah, and this is where the pause was. So, Brand Slam was just sitting there, like, not doing anything. So, that's why Hannah used on no one, because Hannah's like, oh, my scout, like, isn't moving. Like, what's going on? So, that's actually really bad timing, because if he was there, he could have taken that Uber exchange and given Hannah the scout speed to get a better position for a post, and, like, maybe get some damage and cause some flashes to make the Uber not that great. So, that leads to 0 chance for them to actually hold on 2 there for the side of Froyotech. So very unfortunate, and the cell get a little bit of a boon there, but this one was hard work for us. The demo fight that happens inside Choke, it looks like, does fall in the cell's favor, but Banny, as Greg tries to get through, immediately snipes him down, so they don't have that much of an advantage to really work with, and High Five gets cleaned up inside Sewer as well, so what they had in the beginning immediately is thwarted because the sniper is just such a strong class, and they didn't have the flank available to be able to get through and kind of deal with them immediately. So Uber does indeed rung out. They're trying to find a way onto Hannah. Hannah does indeed die, though, gets melee down by the side of Raven, but they've lost a couple players. Two behind, one top of the point, one inside IT, Brand Sam and Patty, and then Bandy's taking shots all throughout this entire fight. Overall, 1-for-1 trade. Jay just standing in the corner, knows he can only stand so far away before Bandy goes for the hero shot. Doesn't quite get it though. Will try to escape. Chased him by two soldiers. Will eventually die, but Habib respawn in the thick of it. Will eventually get the one kill. Maybe no. Will not get more than that. And from the soldier, not quite. So they gave up a lot near the end there for not really that much. So overall, the Cell got to be pretty happy with it as they return to mid to claim it for their own. Unless Froyotech has anything to say about it, they do have better respawners.
Yeah, they're just immediately right back in. Patty doing some early damage onto Dingo and Grand Slam on the high ground. They want to try and fight this and make sure that the Cell don't capture it up, and seems like they might be able to just force Vassell back. They are at uber disad, so Vassell may be playing a little bit conservatively, knowing that they just have to keep Jay alive and they can retake this point anyways. I think that's exactly what they're gonna do. Just getting back, getting that Uber all the way up, and now they're gonna come right back in with this Uber to use at a moment's notice. And they are just immediately bombing, doing a bit of damage over towards IT, but no one on Froyo really falling weak enough. And I think Froyotech are going to do the exact same thing, get their Uber, and I think we're in a leapfrog scenario here, Jared.
Yep, I think they probably thought on the Cell that Froyotech wouldn't be that passive inside IT. At least someone would be catchable, but Dingo unable to really find anyone there, so not really going to get a whole lot of kills. But Froyotech taking it slow, not immediately pulling the trigger and just going in, but they have found their way at least through the doorways. A lot of damage onto Hannah and Brand Slam. Someone took the pack from Hannah, so when Hannah eats spam and Greg bombs in, Hannah just has to use. Someone accidentally messed up on the side of Froyotech, and it's going to cause them to have an early use, but they are eventually going to be able to get something. They got the two soldiers, had to put Patty for it. They almost lost Habib in turn. So that, honestly, that could have been just a straight up milk through, taking it for free, use the ad to try to go into two, but the slight misplay there is going to make it so that they actually have to use it for mid, and once again, in a leapfrog scenario, as the respawners will come in from the side of the Cell, so they can't keep the ball rolling, and the Uber is in the equation now as they'll begin to try to poke and prod. No soldier's able to really jump through the choke quite yet, so Jay kind of just glad has to commit in, and if the bomb from Laz enough to do it, Jay just says, screw it, I'm going to use, even though he's not really that weak, and not able to really find too much here, maybe on a Brand Slam. No, he's not really caught. He's pretty much fine. As Hannah at 70%, not quite has an Uber of her own. High five, actually, and they're trying to try while they're still capping. Kill Hannah before she's able to get her Uber. They had to kill both their soldiers for it, but the distraction play of going in early, finding her on the low ground pretty much alone, enough to make sure the headshot rocket prevents the surf and secures the kill. The soldiers for the Cell are going huge here, and what could have been a leapfrog scenario if Froyotech played a bit more disciplined ends up huge for the Cell, just going for the off-timing play that just works out in their favor.
Yeah, it does work out, and now Vassell have a massive Uber advantage to try and take on to second. Ideally, they don't have to use here, but Froyotech, knowing them, they've got something up their sleeve, and that is Brand Slam over by Rollout. Just going to be watching choke. Seems like Vassell are opting to instead go through IT, so that's going to be a lot more safe from the sniper comparison, but they do still instant use regardless. Everyone on Froyotech playing very passive. Habib taking a bit of damage over by Rollup out. He's going to be very, very safe, so no one falling on Froyo to that Uber. They're not close enough to their own that they can immediately repush right back in, and I think because of that, that's just going to buy a little bit more time for Vassell to get some defenses up on second as they anticipate Froyotech pushing out. Seems like they're going to try and do it through one.
Yeah, it seems like Froyotech is very aware that the Cell is a team that does not care to try to milk their Ubers for whatever reason, whether it be play style or like they don't think they're as good at it. They're just ripping their Ubers. Well, Froyotech's kind of, they're taking some turns doing each another, and it makes it harder for the Cell to actually try to find a way to successfully get these forces out. They just milked all the way through, killed someone as well, like Sword, not even a soldier bombing in, and are able to hold on to two here. So really good job from them to make sure that the leapfrog is indeed killed, but don't have quite enough Uber to continue to go on to mid without it being kind of stretched thin there. So good call from them to kind of end things early. But now, even though we're back to a stalemate, we can get to see what the Cell is about to do to go ahead and try to break it. Got Sore over in IT just spotting for now, but they haven't really committed to one of the sides to go ahead and figure out which way they want to go. Got some people to get inside the sewer area, at least for now, which is pretty standard. No sniper, but might be a distraction for one of the soldiers to commit. High five in Al-Qaeda, although one of Greg getting prepared to maybe bomb through the choke. The question is when will they actually pull the trigger?
Exactly, just gonna be waiting for one of them to just go for it. It's actually gonna be Soar running into Patty's rocket. Yeah, Soar probably gonna be opting to go sniper. Process, a really great map for sniping, probably one of the best 5C maps, but Froyotech trying to do something before that sniper's even on the field. Last bombing in, immediately gets right back out, so no harm, no foul there. Froyotech just pressuring a little bit, seeing if there's maybe some type of opening. Laz a bit deep in IT, but thinks better of it, walks back up, and that's going to be still a case for Soar to have the go-ahead, spawn up on Sniper. We've already seen a lot of Sniper, but actually from Froyo, Banny in the same position, that trying to use that sniper to break these stalemates, and then Brand Slam on the defensive over by rollout, and not too many shots being hit, all things considered, maybe just corralling the enemy team into playing a certain way, but not too much success with just the pure sniper so far. We'll have to see if maybe Soar is going to be the one to break that streak as he's over towards Al-Qaeda.
Yep, trying to peek just a little bit, but the timing,
oh my god,
the damage from Patty as well. Immediately 2 dead, and Greg actually dies as well. 3 dead? That's one of those scenarios where you expected just 1 or 2 man, and you lose 3, get forced. This is a domino effect in Froyotech's favor. The Cell, they did not see that coming from a mile away. Or they didn't see it coming at all. So at the end of the day, Froyotech don't even have to use their Uber. They're just trying to walk through IT, maybe catch some people off guard. But it's okay, not really spotted until the last moment. Last dying to a trap though makes things a bit more difficult. Greg trying to jump away through 1, kind of caught by Patty at least a little bit, will eventually escape, but no, Habib through 2, able to get the stickies onto him, so he tries to jump away, just ends up killing himself. So ultimately, pretty good job from the side of Froyotech, able to secure this, but Jay living means that Uber is going to be available for the side of the Cell to go ahead and push out, but as stated before, bit of a precarious scenario. You know, you can't really, I mean, the Cell has pretty much been ripping their Ubers non-stop, so I think Froyotech knows exactly how to hold. There's back cap potential here if you're not too careful, but they're going through 1, trying to take it slow, which is good for them. You know, they're not necessarily doing the thing that was most common and that Froyotech would probably expected. Gotta be really careful of these soldier bombs though, but Jay working in, already half HP, soldier bomb. 38 HP does indeed have to force. Maybe we'll be able to get Laz. Nice rocket from High Five, able to clean that up, and Bransam hiding in the corner will be able to avoid the scatter from the side of Raven. So overall, only getting 1. So leapfrog once again. Froyotech at 90%, just gotta pick door. There is going to be a little bit of a weak flank here that the Cell could use if they want to, considering that Laz is going to be rolling out and not actually watching anything. But it seems like with their positioning, they're just going to go ahead and go for a force play and not like a wraparound behind play. As Froyotech on the move now with Laz spawning, they're trying to get through the chokes, and they've pretty much gone through with everyone except for Hannah. No one has actually gone through to try to kill one of the people first in. I think the Cell were waiting for Hannah, and because Froyotech successfully never let her enter, they didn't even think about, like, let's just bomb the first person that goes through. So once again, the mind games from Froyotech are leading into their favor. 25% ad, just ripping it out through 3, trying to go over to the left-hand side. Not really finding too much, but the stickies, the det onto, from Dingo onto Banny means there's no scouts available at all. Froyotech, what, this Uber? It got no one. They weren't even distracted by like a heavy or a gun or anything that absorbed any of their damage. They just got straight up nothing, and they're just leaving through IT, giving up the last attempt, giving up 2 in its entirety, and now at least they don't have people blocked, like the forwards blocked. But full disad with Jay and friends on the move towards sewer.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Froyotech, but really great hold from the Cell as they make their way in Brand Slam over on that sniper. Patty trying to shut down the sewer door just a little bit. Habib still fighting, trying to get as much damage as possible. Patty going in for the bomb, just kind of fading away. Might be able to get out, but Laz finds one onto Greg in the back lines. He's starting to go for a back cap, so we're going to be able to clean him and Banny up, and that does drop the Cell back and allowing the Froyotech to take a little bit more space here on this point. They are going to have the quick responders, but Hannah disconnected from the rest of the combo, so everyone on Froyo just gonna have to meet back up with their medic and hold on to second. That does buy them a little bit of time. They are still gonna be at Uber disad, but not as much as previously, so if they're able to delay Vassell here, they could get for this second fight. Depends on how quickly Vassell want to try and take it in here. Seems like they want to try and milk it just a little bit, or maybe just turn this into a sack, so Froyo should be able to get in with Sword dying early there. I think Vassell are just going to back up. Greg getting chased over, and IT might get caught out, is going to get caught out, and now Froyotech, flank open, should be able to get through these chokes a lot cleaner.
Yeah, Dingo trying to hold it down. Hasn't been really quite bombed yet, but Froyotech still have this player advantage they want to use. Brand Slam has found a way through. Onto the demo, push him back, which means the floodgates are open for the rest of the team to run through, but the Uber is used. Habib dying is not that great, but they need to get this force out, otherwise it's going to be a huge ad for the side of Froyotech. They need to find some other kill, someone from the side of the cell, but High Five will not be victorious in his duel inside sewer as help is received through the shutter. So overall, I mean, there's only so much you can really do to say, like, you got 2 kills with the Uber, but you can't really continue on with High Five's death afterwards. So I think Froyotech can't be too mad at that overall successful force. Got a bit dicey with the amount of people you lost, but at the end of the day, more favorable than it was prior. So we'll see how they begin to work with this. Most of the time, they've been going pretty slow. Kind of curious if the cell will begin to try to punish that a bit more and not be as afraid. And they're holding the high ground. They're over by their IT area, which makes it really bad to go ahead and rip it, but Froyotech will go ahead and move over to the enemy pack area to try to take high ground for their own. Greg bombing in, half damage on a Hannah, half damage on a Habib. High Fives once again in sewer. He seems to love that place, but once again will get help. 2 scouts is not something you can really win there as a soldier, but overall it's just a soldier trade, and that's bought tons and tons of time for the cell to be able to hold on to mid. So even though, you know, it didn't really find like a force, maybe some individual duels didn't go quite their way, at the end of the day, overall successful from the side of the cell to just buy time and create enough chaos for their Uber to come into play. So Froyotech's opportunity to push back into mid is completely gone. And High Five has gone ahead and respawned on Sniper.
High Five up on the Sniper with a little bit of a Texas cowboy loadout with that hat, but just going to be all eyes on him to really try and open things up. Once again, the Snipers not being too super successful thus far, but obviously just takes 1 shot from High Five to that all go away in the favor of the cell. By the choke, just very slow, not really deep committing at all. Now it's going to rotate over into Sue. Actually, no, thinks twice about it, and instead is, going to continue into Sewer, waiting for someone to open that shutter door, locked and loaded. Really only Patty and Banny. Actually does a lot of damage onto Patty, but not enough to get the kill. But Dingo follows up with a sticky, so that is going to be the pockets down from Froyotech. They can maybe try and send in one of their soldiers, or High Five can just go for deeper and deeper peaks. He's taking a lot of space, and Greg, oh my god, oh my god,
double,
Laz,
oh my god.
With the double, they still do get the Uber force, so I mean, mission accomplished. But Jay, a little bit too caught in, is going to have to take the Uber down players, and this is a lot better for Froyo.
Able to get the final kill there onto Brand Slam, but 2 down from the cell means it's a bit hard to work with too much here, and the collapse is happening. They're all inside sewer, and they're getting I think every single shutter was utilized from the side of Froyo to find and get their way in there to clean up the rest of the team. Soar and Greg respawners that are not quite there in time to help with the whole fight that happened to Soar. Hiding in IT, will not be able to find anything, but at least escapes with his life for now. Getting chased down a bit, but not a whole lot committing there. And Jay gets his spawn blocked. So there's not too much that the red team can actually do here to defend. Probably going to see someone go back. And they're not going back for Engineer, they're just going to head and scout speed Jay forward. Since Froyotech was kind of slow in their own right to get in here, so now they have some heals to work with, but the soldiers are barely even healthy enough to go for something. High Five gets his buff and immediately goes in, finds a Laz all by himself, which is pretty good, honestly. It's not necessarily the force they need, but once again, it creates a distraction that allows them to turn and get the kill on a Banny as well. So honestly, great job winning that 1v1 from High Five. First to jump onto Laz, and then the kill on the Banny. But the Uber is rung out. Despite the player disadvantage, seeing that the players from the cell are too far forward that they can still get some kills here. Got a lot of damage onto Greg, but Dingle will be only killed with Sword. Coming in with the flank. I don't think his team's quite ready for it. They're trying to go in now, but Habib is logging out the rest of the team from getting to help. Hey, Raven took a lot of damage. Jay was unable to get him, but the soldier bomb from High Five once again getting the kill onto Hannah. High Five coming in clutch in the past minute here.
Yeah, High Five doing really well there to get that kill onto Hannah, and that is going to give the cell a little bit of breathing room here. Not too much because they're still on their last and they have to push out. It is continuous overtime, and Froyotech only need 1 more round. That could be gotten in the form of a very sneaky back cap, so it's going to be on the cell to push out and to make sure that they watch all these doorways here, not let anyone from Froyotech in behind. Habib getting one on the Raven is going to make things a lot trickier. Patty bombs in, gets the force out, and no one from the cell is getting any space whatsoever. They're basically landlocked over by that little IT entry point, and so because of that, they're just gonna have to go back onto their last, not getting any kills in at Uber Disad.
Yeah, I think Jay wanted to use to go ahead and make sure that the rest of the people that were coming in could be kind of saved, but I think the timing of when they were walking in wasn't quite in sync, so he kind of popped and there wasn't really anyone walking through the door right then, so it completely killed any of the chase that was remaining. I mean, it's already pretty poor if you're going to lose the scout speed, and maybe if you're lucky, one of the scouts can supplement, but at least a projectile can kind of launch in and maybe get someone right, get some space, recap. But no, it was dead in the water once that happened. So Uber coming in from the side of Froyotech, getting the gun down first, trying to clear the stickies to go ahead and corner cap. Det already, Stingo putting some damage in on one of the scouts. Fanny still alive though. These soldiers coming in, high-fiving Dread. We're going to get both scouts out of the equation. So really good job playing by the thinnest of margins here. And despite all the cap time that Froyotech got, it was not quite enough. The Cell was able to succeed in holding that point down as Tenna and Habib go ahead and escape with their lives. Habib kind of alone at least for a little bit, but no one's immediately going for him, so he will go ahead and escape with his life as Jay. Living throughout the entire fight will indeed have an Uber to work with to go ahead and go into mid here, but Brand Slam is upon Sniper, is outside of the forge, and is sitting on top of the rock staring at the choke, which it appears is the direction they're trying to take this. First shot has not rung out yet, so it is a bit of a surprise factor. Soldiers are going to begin to go ahead and make space now as High Five has jumped in and didn't see the sniper. Raven goes in and will indeed find him, giving up his life for it. High Five gets bombed. They're baiting right now with their Uber as Jay pops in to try to save player, but once again, not quite enough. Sora is going to die there in the tail end, or Raven is going to, no, yeah, it was Sora. Sora dying in the tail end of things means once again no scout speed and the Uber is immediately dead in the water, so really good job from the side of Froyotech.
Oh my god.
Brand Slam with that shot was not necessary, but it will indeed secure the kill. So with 3 dead, giant Uber, they didn't even want to wait for the Uber. They just want to spam down the gun now. It's capped up. Another shot from Brand Slam, taking down Thor. The gun is dead once again. It can't get built up. Maybe go for a heavy play or something, but you need mobility to get onto the point. High Five dead. Body shot on to Dingo and onto Raven. Brand Slam with a 5k there. And that is going to be a 3-0 game in Froyotech's favor.
3-0. It was a very back and forth, at least when we initially got in, but it just seemed like Froyotech were able to kind of grind the Cell down just a little bit and slowly take more and more control over the map. The Cell really having, I wouldn't say misplays with their Ubers, but it seemed like it was kind of uncoordinated. There's that time where they're pushing out. There were a few times where they just kind of instantly used in, and Froyotech just kind of had them completely figured out, like you said. So maybe a just not as well there, but they were doing well to kind of get themselves out of those situations that their Ubers kind of put them into. But Froyotech just overall the better team tonight, and they are going to be coming with that win, continuing their undefeated season, I believe. And I think that puts the Cell 2-1, something like that. I don't have the actual league standings up now, but yeah, just really good. And you know, the medic change up from Froyotech not hurting them, still getting the dub, no rounds lost, so I think they will count that as a good win.
Yep. Overall, pretty close game. Froyotech overall taking it near the end, though. They did a much better job in their transitions, changing it up and also punishing as well. Not only were they kind of changing whether or not they are milking, but they did it in situations where most teams wouldn't milk, like the IT pushes where, you know, anytime a team is going through IT, you really expect the Uber. They're continuing the train of putting Patty more in the forefront of a lot of the Ubers they've been doing, or at least some of the pushes. You know, sometimes, whether it's an Uber that's like straight off the rip or something that's milked in a little bit, a lot of the times you'll see most teams putting a Doman in it, but they're going back to, I mentioned the other cast, they're going back to like, what, 2017 TF2, where it's like, no, it's Soldier and Scout that are the main dynamic duo, and the demo man just trails behind and maybe jumps if he feels like it. So they're continuing with that playstyle, and it's still, you know, shining true. So there's definitely some merit to it, even though we're in the demo man Uber era of TF2. But they also did a really good job of punishing the Cell, who were kind of on, I don't want to use one trick, because one trick is like, there's a different term other than one trick, but they only really did pushes one way for the most part, and I guess it kind of shows why they were just Ubering right off the bat for the most part in most of their pushes. And Froyotech kind of, it seemed like they went into this match knowing that that was going to be the case, and immediately punished it very heavily and were really passive to make sure that, you know, that couldn't really do anything and no one was going to get caught. But even when the Cell decided, like, okay, us just straight up Ubering into points with our ads isn't netting us anything, I guess let's try the other way and try to take it slow. Froyotech also recognized the change and immediately weren't passive anymore. Were heavily punishing Raven and Hi-Fi when they were trying to make space for Jay. to be able to walk through. And overall, the ability to adapt to the other team was just much better on the side of Froyotech. So it makes sense that even though it didn't exactly go to 5 rounds and it was very hard fought, the slight edge there is I would say is a main contributing factor to what kind of prevented the Cell from putting any rounds on the board and leading to the Froyotech 3-0 victory.
Yeah, Froyotech 3-0, a nice undefeated for them right now. And no, yeah, 100% agree that kind of the Uber game for the Cell, not as good as they probably would have liked it, but yeah, Froyotech going to be 4-0, I think, at the moment, and then the Cell going to be 2-1. So still very, very close, all things considered, because you got Franz J 2-1, the Greasy Dothogs now going to be 1-3, I think, if the match hasn't been reported just quite yet from there in Like and G6. So very close in that kind of 4th, 3rd spot playoffs race. So going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But unless we have any interviews, which I don't, yeah, we aren't going to have any. That's going to be it from us here at RGL. Do you have any shoutouts you'd like to give, Jared?
Shout out to all the viewers for watching and all the teams for playing. Shout out to Slam House for the tunes for the pre-show before we go live, etc., etc. And this was a pretty good week. A lot of action, a lot of close games, and hope that week 3 is the same, because as weeks go on, we get a better picture of who's the top dogs for all these teams and who are the actual bubble teams that are in threat of potentially not making it to playoffs. So it only gets more hype from here, and I hope the train keeps rolling.
I 100% agree. We'll mirror your shoutouts. Shoutouts to all you guys for watching. Shoutouts to the teams for playing. Shoutouts to Dolphin for doing all of the production wizardry that he does behind the scenes. Shoutouts to you, Jared, for being an amazing co-caster. And shoutouts to the RGL merch. Wear it, buy it, show up to lands, plural, in it. It's really cool stuff, and buying it helps us out here at RGL. But aside from that, that's going to be it for us here tonight. You have watched both Like a G6 versus the Greasy Dothogs and the Cell versus Froyotech, G6 and Freyo being your 2 respective winners. We'll be back next week with some more Season 6's 17 invite action, so stay tuned. But until then, have a good night.